Hello everyone and welcome back to SliverStar Arcade and more The Great Ace Attorney. In the last episode, we sent someone to go, interviewed Gina Lestrade and sent someone to go fetch us some evidence. So this is the article in question, is it? The small box deposited with the pawnbroker by Mr. McGilded 2 months ago. And on the night of Mr. Windybank's murder, the only item on the shelf that was touched by whoever broke into the shop. Quick, let's open it and see what's inside. It's a music box. Good gracious, this is no ordinary box, it seems. Wow. Although in truth, I had an inkling that might be the case. Oh no, the audio. There we go. That's a bit better. It would appear that box houses a miniature music box movement. Then, is it too much to expect? I think it would be reasonable to assume that it is a device for the playback of this disc, my lord. How small is the disc? So here we have the means to play back Mr. McGilded's disc, deposited at Windybank's at much the same time. Not strictly correct, my lord. It was not McGilded's disc. It was the disc of his victim in the omnibus. But why, for heaven's sake? Are we to understand that the brickmaker was trying to sell this music box disc to Mr. McGilded? I believe the answer will become clear if we listen to the music on the disc, my lord. Yes, very well. Let the court now listen to this curious disc at last. Wait, my lord. Good grief, what is the meaning of this, Inspector? The music box and the disc are, well, they're unrelated to the case. No need to spoil the somber atmosphere in the courtroom with some silly bit of music. Objection. This disc may very well have motivated the culprit in this case to commit murder. Clearly there's every chance that this is fundamentally important to understanding what happened. The prosecution has no objection. But no, that piece of evidence is police property now. You can't. Clearly Scotland Yard has some vested interest here, but it is the policy of this prosecutor to leave no avenues unexplored. And you, Inspector, have no jurisdiction here to prevent that from happening. No further delays. Please, play the disc. Let's give it a listen. Holy it's Morse code. What on earth? That's certainly not what I would call music. No. It's just the same note playing over and over again in irregular sequence. Oh no. Mr. Graydon? This is really priceless. After all that, the music box is broken. Broken? It can't be, can it? No, it's Morse code. Well, obviously, in fact, I wouldn't be surprised if the officer sent to fetch it and drop it on the way back to the courtroom. Well, with much regret, I feel the court must accept this music box offers little in the way of clues. Are you ready to move on, counsel? Come on. Yes, alright. It does sound as though it's completely broken, but is it? Could this music emanating from it possibly be a new clue? It could be. It's Morse code. I believe that it could be relevant, my lord. Good lord, how can it be? It's an abomination, counsel. Mere noise. I fail to see how it can have any meaning whatsoever. It does sound strange, I agree. But there's one thing bothering me. While Graydon stands there chortling victoriously, The inspector beside him has a rather telling expression on his face. It's as if Gregson recognizes the sound, as if he's familiar with it somehow, and that's making him appear extremely on edge. If that's the stance of the defense, my Nipponese friend, answer me this. Oh. Man, I wish I knew Morse code. Just what relevance do you propose this woefully chime-in has on this case? If the defense's belief that the sound emanating from this music box is not supposed to be music. Just because this is a music box, it doesn't necessarily mean the sounds we're hearing are music. Oh yeah, that's right, we know. Look at that. The smile vanished from Graydon's lips as soon as I said it. I'm on the right lines here. I must be.
Making deductions based on how people react to what you say. You're acting just like Hurley, Runo.
Objection!
Objection! The sounds we're hearing aren't necessarily music. Well, now that you've told us what they are not, I'm sure the court would like to hear what they are. Do enlighten us, my Nipponese friend. Surely you have an idea in mind, because if not, it will be the death of your ill-formed argument. Exactly. The music box is clearly broken. Refusing to accept that fact is pure foolishness. They've got me. I don't know what the answer is yet.
Runo? I've just examined the music box very thoroughly, and I'm fairly certain that it's not broken at all.
Really?
Really, the way it's been made, it can only produce a single note anyway.
Thank you, Iris. Right. Well, if the music box isn't broken, it must mean that the sound it's producing has some significance that isn't musical. Ah! Could it be? Is that what these sounds are?
Something just struck me, Runo. I feel like recently, in the past few hours even, I've heard another sound very much like this, like the one this music box makes.
Yes, it's a familiar sound. Actually, Iris, I was just thinking exactly the same thing. I'm going to have to press the defense for an answer. If your assertion is that the sound produced by this music box is not in fact music at all, then what the devil is it, counsel? All the evidence we've seen so far, all the testimony we've heard, it's all pointing to one single answer now. The prosecution demands that my learned Nipponese friend presents proof now. Tangible proof of this latest wild speculation. Alright then. This could be the best chance I'm going to get to fight back in this trial. And if I'm right, it's going to join all the dots together. The evidence that explains the true nature of these sounds on a music box disc is... I think it's going to be this, but it still feels a little early to use that. But just to be safe, save. And...
Take that!
Today's paper, counsel. The headline is, Pawnbroker perishes in pick-purse plunder. Hardly supportive of your cause. No, my lord. I was hoping you'd look a little further down the page. Further down? Ministry Mole. Classified secrets may have been leaked overseas from Ministry of Justice. Yes, this is a very serious matter, being investigated at the highest level, I understand. I have heard that international transmissions along supposedly secure lines are somehow being intercepted and leaked to various other countries. And presumably, those transmissions are in the form of wired telegrams? Of course. Juror number 5, your input, please. Stop. Oh, me, sir. Whatever is the matter? You told the court before that you worked at the same communication station as Mr. Graydon, did you not? Yes, that's correct. And the particular station where you work deals with government communications and newspaper reports? Oh, yes, we're not your run-of-the-mill communication station at all. Our work is extremely important. Then tell me, is this not a very familiar sound? Hmm? You don't mean to say, is it... That's right, madam. It bears more than a passing resemblance to the sound made by your telegraph machine as you tap it. I believe it's called Morse code. But I don't believe it. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but when it comes to leaking telegrams from government departments, there could be nobody more perfectly placed than a highly skilled communications officer. Are you suggesting that the music box disc contains stolen government secrets in Morse code? Order! Please, everyone, order! But this is high treason, Council, deserving of capital punishment. Too much new vocabulary. What is treason, and what is capital punishment? Sorts of word I half expect you to know. I'm sorry, I don't know why that caught me so off guard. For our sovereign government's confidential information, hostile nations would surely pay almost any price. Yes, and on that night 2 months ago, that was the very negotiation that was taking place inside the omnibus. But in the end, McGilded perished, and the all-important disc lay unclaimed in the pawnbrokery. My word! In which case, whoever stole that information in the first place must surely have been besides himself with worry, because if the disc would be discovered before it found its way out of the country, it would reveal an act of high treason punishable by death. So the culprit had no choice but to retrieve it, and in order to do that, he would have to gain entry to the pawnbrokery illegally in the middle of the night, because the article left behind by Mr. McGilded would incriminate him too much if it got into the wrong hands. Isn't that right, Mr. Graydon? You think I've been stealing government secrets? Preposterous, absolutely preposterous. So in response to the defense's accusation, you claim complete innocence, do you? Well, of course I do. I've had to stand here in silence while that pretentious foreign lawyer has been prowling away.
Objection!
Then by all means, counter the charges, sir. The prosecution demands the witness testifies. In response to the accusations brought by the defense. Delighted, I'm sure. Then witness is reminded that the crime under scrutiny in this trial is the murder of the pawnbroker Mr. Winnie Bank, that being the most flagrant offense for which the law of this land sanctions a capital punishment. But the heinous act of high treason is no less a serious crime. I urge you to bear that in mind as you testify, Mr. Graydon. So then, let us proceed. You may... Really, Gregson? Oh, never mind, it's the Skulkin brothers. You gotta let us have a Robin Poker, Governor. We got things to say. I beg your pardon? Who do you think you are? Name's Nash Skulkin. Occupation is professional baddie. Name's Ringo Skulkin. We ain't baddies enough to sell out our motherland. That's right. We what they call... the three Skulkin brothers. Bad timing, fellas. Very bad timing. Graydon's counter. A mere communications officer couldn't possibly steal confidential government information. Besides, the sounds produced by that music box aren't even Morse code. It was some low-class brickmaker negotiating with McGilded anyways, was it not? I've no relation to the man. Look, all we've done is break into the gaff the other night like what he told us to do. If we'd have known there was dodgy government secrets involved, we wouldn't have touched it. It's nice to know that they're patriots. Mr. Skulkin? What Mr. Do, Governor? What's up? Do I take it upon you now admit to the crime? That on the night in question you did indeed gain entry to the premise illegally? And moreover, you did so as a party of 3 in collaboration with Mr. Graydon here? We did, Gov, we did! Hey, that works out in our favor. Quieten down, please. What say you to that, Mr. Garrison? I have no idea what these 2 ruffians are referring to. You little rotter, getting us mixed up all in this monkey business. You never said nothing about no government secrets. It was supposed to be a straight up job. Yeah, what about the geezer whose shop it was, eh? Poor bloke didn't have to die, did he? Ugh. Nice to know who your friends are. Whatever these men say, I deny the accusations. Indeed. Well, I certainly wasn't expecting this little music box to become so significant in the proceedings. However, as it has, I will admit it into court to record as evidence. The trained music box only appears to be able to play a single tune or tone. It was deposited when it banks 2 days before the Black Code. Garriden's counter. Hold it! So is this newspaper headline accurate? Government communications are being intercepted? How could I possibly know? What do you mean by that? Any important government communications are handled by high-level officers, by specialists. General members of the staff in the station where I work would never be entrusted with sensitive information. Oh no, stop. Must say something, stop. Let me guess. Juror number 5? We regular communications station officers aren't as lowly as you're being led to believe. A team of us are responsible for setting up and testing the telegraphs used by the ministry, and Mr. Garrison is the team leader. That's fascinating. Garrison is highly skilled operator, stop. Currently in presence of idle, stop. So you had access to the equipment used for these confidential communications, Mr. Graydon. Well, what of it? The transmissions are always made behind closed doors, so they can't be heard. In any case, all messages are sent in ciphered. Normal employees couldn't possibly understand them. Oh no, stop. Must say something, stop. Mr. Graydon regularly attends meetings with ministry technicians and the ministry communications team. He assists them in ensuring that there are no errors in important international communications. And he's received the top prize at the Cipher Cracking Convention 5 years in a row. That's fascinating. Graydon is highly skilled operator, stop. Currently in presence of idol, stop. Well, your idol would appreciate it if you keep your mouth shut. She should really pick her idols more carefully. I tell you, this lawyer's accusations are completely unfounded. Besides, the sounds produced aren't even Morse code. Hold it! They're not? To anyone with a brain, that would be blatantly apparent on listening to that music box for even a few seconds. Of course. Surely it can't be that my learned friend is unfamiliar with Morse code. Ouch, he looks genuinely shocked at my ignorance. Who's laughing now? I would be more than happy to demonstrate the basics for you, sir. Oh, thank you. A lesson here in court? Morse code is a continuous series of 2 distinct tones. Tones, you say? Yes, a short dot and a long dash. By combining those in different ways, you construct the letters. I see. For example, this is A, and this is B. But when you listen to the sound produced by this music box, you only hear one tone, don't you? But this sounds so similar. The rhythm of it is the same in everything. But there's no discernible meaning to this apparently random sequence of sounds. So your assertion is fundamentally flawed. This is not Morse code. No! Really, you shouldn't be so surprised. What did I tell you? That music box is nothing but a worthless piece of scrap. Perhaps you might consider studying your subject matter before casting aspirations in the future. Stop. Nothing to say, but stop.
Oh, it's so frustrating, isn't it?
Iris.
I mean, if the government secrets were somehow being leaked using the music box, so many other things would slot into place so nicely.
Could there still be something I haven't considered? Would it really be impossible to use this music box to somehow play back Morse code? Let me view it. What's this little button back here? Oh, what is it, Runa? I've just noticed something about this music box. It looks like the bottom of it opens up as well.
Ah, you're right. Well, come on then, what are you waiting for? Let's open it.
Alright then, here goes.
Look at that, there's another movement on the underside.
So, does that mean you can set another disc to play on the back side of this?
Yes, I think so. It looks like the two movements are linked together.
They're linked.
So if you had two discs, they would both play back at the same time.
Who'd have thought there'd be a second movement on the underside of the box?
And this movement is like the other one. The comb's teeth are all the same length.
So, this movement also produces a single tone like the other one.
Yes, it must do. Except that the length of the teeth on the two combs isn't the same. So the single tone produced by this movement will be different to the single tone we've already heard.
What?
Basically, each movement can only produce a single note, but the notes they produce are different.
A music box that can only play two different tones. Oh, well, that solves it. There's still every possibility that this music box was instrumental in the leaking of government secrets. That's the belief of the defense, at least.
Objection!
Does it please you in some way, my Nipponese friend, to repeat the same line of argument ad infinitum? It's already been established that to be Morse code, two tones are required, dots and dashes. Yes, I'm well aware of that. Then what? Well, it would appear the defense has a hypothesis to put forward. You had better present your findings at once, counsel. How do you propose this music box, which appears to produce only a single tone, could have been used to cipher secret messages in the Morse code? Oh, I just showed it.
Got it!
Yes! This is it then! It appears you know what's coming, counsel. Clearly that was an answer given in desperation by Owen Flandern to substantiate his argument. What? No, what the fuck? That's bullshit. When was my last save? Well, my last save was back at the beginning of the episode. Actually, wait, no, was it? Yeah, my last save was like 19 minutes ago, and my auto save is right here, so... God, so we have to go through all of that again, even though I was correct. Sometimes this game's just dumb. Come on, come on, come on. Oh my god. See, and like, they punish you, and then they make you redo it all, and then you have to go back, and 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 it's infuriating. Yeah, you're right, Iris. It is frustrating.
Objection!
Oh my. Is it seriously going to take me 3 minutes to get back to it? Jesus. Finally. Open it. We've seen this already. Come on. Oh my god. Like, why is it not letting me skip forward? We've read this dialogue already.
Got it!
Good gracious, what am I looking at here? Another movement on the underside of the music box? What? It appears, my lord, that the two movements are linked together. In other words, you can put two discs in this music box, and the sounds of both will play back at the same time. Good heavens! As the court has heard, Morse code comprises of 2 tones, a short dot and a long dash. With a second disc in place, the music box can be used to generate Morse code and convey a message. This is beyond a joke. I'm sorry? This poor excuse from a lawyer has absolutely no evidence to support his claims. Though, of course, if my learned friend were able to present the court with the second disc, that would be another matter. Well, I can't at the moment. And may I remind the court that, as the witness has pointed out, he was not the one in the omnibus with McGilded 2 months ago, striking a deal over the disc or discs. Indeed, that was Mr. Mason, the brickmaker. Exactly, I had nothing whatsoever to do with it. Though it has holes, I must admit the argument presented by the defense has much promise. I believe the cross-examination should continue. The link between Graydon and the victim of the omnibus case, there must be, but I haven't found it yet.
Oh dear, it looks like you need to give your argument more strength, Bruno.
I will reiterate your testimony. You will reiterate your testimony if you please. If I must, though I maintain exactly what I did at the start of this pointless cross-examination. Wait, so did I not need to go through all of that? I did all of that for nothing? I lost a point for nothing?
Hold it!
So 2 months ago in that omnibus, McGilded killed the brickmaker and stole the disc. Is that really what we're going with? Mr. Mason was a single man with almost nothing to his name. It seems he lived in Arson Quarter some years ago, but people there remember little about him. That doesn't make much sense though, does it? How would a humble brickmaker come to acquire secret government information? How indeed? There must have been somebody else involved behind the scenes in all of this. Somebody who acquired the disc and gave it to Mr. Mason, in order to take it to the meeting with McGilded and negotiate a deal. Dear me. Allow me to dance. If you may have it in for me, sir, but I assure you, I have far more class than that. An old brickmaker from an artisan quarter and his well-to-do communications officer. If only I could find some evidence to link the two of them together. If you have nothing more to add on that note, let's return to the witness testimony. I mean, Grayson and Mason sound very similar, so they could be related. That's what I'm thinking. Oh, so we just straight up confirmed that it's his blood. Oh, Mason was the victim's first name. Milverton. Domicile East End of London. Alright, well, let's just keep pressing.
Hold it!
Like Mr. Graydon told you to do, you mean?
That's it, yeah. Who else, eh? Silly me thought we was just popping over for nada after all them years. The Rodder had a dodgy job for us. Hey, Ash.
Let me stop you there, Mr. Skulkin. After all them years, you say? Do you mean to tell me that Mr. Graydon is an acquaintance of yours? We're the sociable kind of baddies, you know? Sure, let's say Graydon's in old China.
Excuse me.
Did you see the way he, like, jiggles the fat of his, cheek? Is something wrong, Mr. Skulkin?
Yeah?
No, the other Mr. Skulkin. What? Ooh, me? When your brother was testifying just now, he said something that seemed to cause you to react. Oh, I was just remembering the old days, that's all. We used to have a right old laugh together way back when. Together? With Mr. Graydon, you mean?
Yeah, with Ash. I mean, look at him now in his fancy whistle and flute, and you wouldn't Adam and Eve it. But when we was younger, we was from the poor part of town just like us.
Is that so?
But he was always a leery one. He had the brains, he had the savvy. Always coming up with smart ideas like what would never have gone through our heads. God blimey, ain't that the truth? Remember Milverton and Skulkin's milk run?
Milverton.
That was a corker, eh?
Save it until after the trial. Your reminiscence has no place in this courtroom. And neither does your fruit.
Oi, the geezer asked us a question, didn't he? And we was answering. Yeah, we ain't done nothing wrong.
Nevertheless, the court is not prepared to accompany you on your trip down memory lane. Counsel, can we turn our attention back to testimony, please? I don't know. Could that sentimental story be relevant somehow? Add to the testimony. My lord? Yes, counsel. The brother's last sentimental statement could hold vital information relating to the case. Very well, counsel. I will permit the brothers to supplement their testimony with that detail. Briefly, I hasten to add.
Say no more. Skulkin's never skulking.
Milverton and Skulkin's milk run. Core, those were the days.
Hold it!
I'm sure I'm going to regret asking, but what exactly was that? Some kind of business?
Just a little scheme we had going back when we was youngsters. A bit of fun, really. Delivering fresh milk to the locals. That's what it was all about.
That sounds alarmingly legitimate. There must be a catch. I suppose since we're here, I should ask them to elaborate, but on what? The business name. So this business was just a little bit of fun, you say? And it was just yourselves and Mr. Graydon involved?
Yeah, that's it.
Milverton and Skulkin's milk run, was it?
Yeah, that's it.
And where did the Milverton part come from?
Oh, right. I thought clever clogs like you'd have worked that out now. That is...
Enough of this. How much longer are we expected to listen to this drivel? I don't... Let me guess. You don't accept anything these two witnesses are saying. Tell me, why is it that it was only at the mention of the name Milverton that you decided to interject? Because well...
They weren't the happiest of homes that one come from. Yeah, his old man was struggling for money so much his wife walked out on him.
She took the name Graydon then, see? But Ash will always be Milverton to us. Milverton. So that used to be your surname, did it? Of course not. This is all bunkum. I've been a Graydon since I was born. Do you really think you can rely on the testimony of these two thieves? You're a communications officer attached to the civil service. As such, your personal details will have been thoroughly checked at the time of your appointment. It would be a very simple matter indeed to subpoena those records, Mr. Garridon. Well, it would appear that Mr. and Mr. Skulkin's testimony has been reliable, for once. You were born Ashley Milverton, then. Is that correct? Very well, yes. So Ashley Graydon was once Ashley Milverton. That information could change things, and could turn out to be extremely important. Ashley Graydon, he's a childhood friend of the Skulkin brothers, whose last name was once Milverton years ago. All of a sudden, we seem to be up to our necks in a serious matter of national security. Although all this talk about interception of secret government messages is still just conjecture at this stage. It would explain a number of things though, wouldn't it? The negotiation Ginny overheard on the omnibus 2 months ago, and the break-in at Windy Banks. But the trouble is, it wasn't Mr. Garridon in the omnibus with Mr. McGilded. No, that was Mr. Mason, the brickmaker, who was so horribly murdered. If only there was some link between the two men somehow. I know, but Mr. Graydon's testimony seems to be as watertight as ever. I wonder if the key to us making headway in this crime... What? Could be those two brothers. It was. Okay, alright, now I'm gonna save, because, like, I should be saving before I do anything now. And I think we need to present him with... I think this, because this has the guy's last name.
Objection!
Mr. Ashley Milverton, tell me, why did you try to hide your former name from the court? Because I haven't gone by that name for years. It means nothing to me. No, I don't think that's the real explanation at all. The truth is, you had a reason to hide that name. Oh, we're going to get you now. Explain yourself, please, counsel. I have here the notes from the omnibus case, my lord. As we all know, the victim, the man who we understand to have been negotiating with McGilded... Yes, Mr. Mason, the brickmaker. That's right. Only Mason wasn't his surname at all. It was his given name. His full name was Mason Milverton. Milverton? Do you mean to say... Saints alive! Mr. Ashley Milverton? Is it not the case that the brickmaker, Mr. Mason Milverton, was your father? I don't... As I believe I mentioned earlier, your family history will have been thoroughly checked when you joined the civil service. But it really would take no time at all for the court to subpoena those records. The truth is, you have been illegally acquiring highly confidential government information and selling it on to McGilded in collaboration with your father. Rabble, 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 rabble. The new facts and evidence unveiled by the cross-examination of this witness all come together to reveal the truth. The truth, you say? That you collaborate with your father, Mr. Mason Milverton, in illegal dealings with Magnus McGilded. By dint of this music box, you mean, counsel? Yes. Stealing information being sent in secret government communications and selling it on to McGilded. Mr. Graydon concocted this elaborate scheme of using 2 music box discs to encode the information. as presumably a safety measure against the information falling into the wrong hands. Alright, I'm sorry, I just blanked out. What was just said? Okay.
And a very effective one. I shouldn't have given the scheme any credence whatsoever. But the deal with McGilded went sour, and the brickmaker met his end.
Yes, but before he was arrested, McGilded managed to temporarily dispose of the stolen disc at the pawnbroker. Then, having learned of the situation, you appeared at Windybanks 2 days ago in an attempt to recover the 2 articles McGilded had placed in pawn there.
But that attempt failed.
One of the discs was seized by the police, and the other you never found. So that same night, you enlisted the help of the Skulkin brothers and broke into the pawnbrokery. Okay. This time, determined to recover the second disc.
Oh, are you suggesting that the second disc was inside the music box?
Eh? We never knew nothing about that.
On the night that Mr. Windybank was killed, the intruder to the pawnbrokery touched one item alone, the music box.
Or rather, ingeniously demonstrated using the 2 prints from the security cameras, indeed.
So, the question that naturally begs answering is this. Why was only that one article disturbed? The answer is obvious, because it contained the second disc, which the intruder was desperate to retrieve. Since, if it were to fall into the hands of the police, it would be proof of high treason. Well, Mr. Graydon, do you deny that all of this actually began on that fateful night 2 months ago?
I refuse to accept any of this nonsense.
Sir, there appears to be blood seeping through the sleeve of your jacket.
What?
Ah! 2 nights ago, we know that 3 shots were fired at the scene of the crime in Windybank's pawnbrokery. 1 took the life of the pawnbroker himself. 1 struck the pouch around Mr. Sholmes' waist. And the final bullet? Struck the calendar on the wall of the shop, having first pierced the arm of one of the intruders. Mr. Graydon, that wound on your arm that you seem to be trying to hide, it's a bullet wound, isn't it?
He's got you now, me old China. Time to call it quits and croak, I reckon.
Tisk. Don't acknowledge my presence there under any circumstances whatsoever. Those were my terms, remember, and I paid you handsomely to comply. Clearly, I was a fool to think that I could trust some common backslum thieves. Fine, I admit it. I was there in Windybanks that night. I paid this pair 10 guineas to accompany me. And as you've noticed, I sustained an injury in the course of my adventures. But that is all. I admit to nothing more.
Alright, 1 second. Man, this guy's stubborn, eh? But that's all I admit to nothing more. Stealing government secrets? Negotiating with Mr. McGilded? Even while shot, he's still dancing. As God is my witness, I recall nothing of the sort. He's not going to go down without a fight. Not until I can show hard evidence, I suppose. Nevertheless, the defense has now established a crucial fact. Which is... Well, we know that one bullet was fired from each of the two firearms. We have an evidence. The bullet from the Skulkin Brothers' gun hit the pouch around Sholmes' waist. And the bullet from Mr. Windybank's gun clearly must have been the one that caught Mr. Graydon on the arm. Indeed, it must. We can rule out the possibility that the man shot himself. And that leads us to only one conclusion. Mr. Windybank was shot by a third gun, which can only have been fired by the third intruder. Goodness! That's right, Mr. Graydon. Gah. The only person who could possibly have shot Mr. Windybank that night is you. Now, realistically, the trial should end here. Because we've already proved that Ginny is innocent. But, of course, unless we unravel the entire, high treason plot, they're not going to let Jane go. And he's laughing again. You little upstart. You made a grave mistake when you summoned me here. What? What's that supposed to mean? Yes, as you rightly say, I was there at the pawnbroker's. I did my best to hide the fact, naturally. I had no intention of ruining the distinguished career that I had built for myself at the communications station. But did the thought never cross your mind? Did you never consider the possibility? What? What do you mean? What thought? What possibility? The possibility that if I was at the scene, I may have witnessed the crucial moment. You see, this makes me a key witness in this case, and I have my hands firmly around the neck of your client. Really? This is your last-ditch effort to say, I saw her, like... What? Are you suggesting... I saw it all. I saw the very moment that pickpocket girl pointed the gun at that poor defenseless pawnbroker and shot him. You... What? Okay, so we have already established that he's a thief, so how is he any more credible than the two Skulkin brothers? Order, order, order. Well, it would seem we are finally entering the last act of this theatrical trial. Mr. Graydon. Yes? I trust you are fully aware of the implications here. If it is shown that your claim is false, you will have incriminated yourself as the killer. Oh, I understand fully. Then I must ask you to give your formal testimony once more. You'll explain to the court precisely what you saw at the moment the defendant allegedly shot the victim. Which we will do in the next episode. So, thank you all so much for watching. Man, this is a ride. But I think we're getting close to the end of the game, so I'm going to try and finish it tonight, even though it's already 3:48 in the morning. But I'm going to try and finish this, because then we can finally not move on to a new game, because if you'll remember, I haven't finished The Wild at Heart. I have to go back to that game. Oh, God. Anyways, so, as always, stay safe, have fun, and have a great day.